Everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you all are doing amazing. This weekend for me, it happens to be a unique weekend where I really didn't do much of work. Lots of times I wrap up the week before and start the next week. I happen to find myself needing just a lot more sleep lately, and that's exactly what I did. And then on Sunday, I got to go out with my daughter and take care of some health things that we like to do, and just things around New Jersey. If a lot of you don't know, I moved out here to New Jersey just under a year ago, and it's been really, really fun. And exploring New Jersey, it's just like a whole different way of living. And it really ties into what I'm going to share today about being booked out but burnt out. You know, I was actually thinking about this over the weekend too, is that, there was a time when burnout was almost like on repeat for me of like growing the business, helping clients, building the team, doing the work and all of the things, and really looking at the factors of the hard reasons of what was happening and working intentionally to actually help make them different. And if that's you, I got your back today, and I cannot wait to share. So, welcome to this week's live around booked out and burnt out and how to fix this. In case you are new to our group, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am super grateful to have you, and get comfy in the group. There's a lot of content. It's put out intentionally every week around a topic that we see as important with working with owners. And always, as always, any questions, feel free to let me know. So let's jump in. The reality check is that therapist booked out can look like back to back sessions with no break, writing notes late at night after the kids are in bed, saying yes to every new client, and even when your caseload is full, uh, just continuing to say yes, feeling guilty, even thinking about time off. It actually reminds me of a certain client of ours, when this client began with us, that there was a lot of philanthropy work being done. And there was not also not enough profit for the growth of the firm of where it was growing. And they were so attached, a lot of these people, to a lot of the philanthropy work, but it was also in their survival mode of working and of how it was operating. And there's no harm in doing the philanthropy work while at the same time, if the business is not operating well, where people are paying bills and getting paid and all of these sorts of things, that it becomes something that we really need to rethink about. Now, the back-to-back sessions, I'll be honest with you, when I hire from my team personally and how I book out my day, I don't operate that way. And I see my clients work that way, and it bugs me out. Because if you have to go to the bathroom, if you have to drink some water or you want to get fruit, it becomes really, really hard. And as this talk today can be relevant to really any field that you go into, whether it was coaching or you're a true therapist or you're teaching your therapist on how to work, a lot of these things come into play in terms of the concept. So the cost of being booked out, the income doesn't match your effort, so more hours doesn't equal more money. So it becomes time value exchange for money versus it becomes time exchange for money, and it's not based on the value. No energy left for supervision, training, or growing your practice. So it just becomes around the doing, and it not becomes around the intention to make things better or to improve. I hate to use the word better because then it implies that something is wrong, and nothing is wrong. It's more about here of being intentional around the things that are growing your practice. Clients who need you getting less than your best, constantly worrying about burnout or dropping the ball. Now, I see these posts all the times of where this client did something and I feel guilty and da 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 da. When we don't have boundaries for ourselves on how we work with things, what happens is all of these other things come into play, and that's the reduction in profit. That's the reduction of income. It's not necessarily more clients, it's these things that are creeping into your day that take up brain space that become stronger than the actual deposits that are coming into your bank. And I want you to hear that again and really understand that these small things creeping in is basically the deposits that are missing in our bank account every day. So the hidden cost of being booked, you're scaling your practice isn't about cramming. It's about creating offers that give you back time and profit. And now with an offer, it's also about you're solving a problem for a client. And when you're solving a problem for a client, it doesn't have to be everything. It's prioritizing where they are and putting them in the next best position that they can be in. So if they have like six urgencies and it's kind of like what's the most urgency of the six, that's really where you're beginning. It actually reminds me of this story, when my mom was in the hospital a few years ago for a lengthy period of time. And the options that we were up to with my sisters and I were really, really difficult. And my sister actually said, she was like, you know what, Margot? Um, she goes, all the options stink. It's like, what's the best of this, all of these stinky options? And that's really what it comes down to, is how she said it. It's just that sometimes the options are just not great, but it's the steps that led us into that position that we just have to choose and move on so that we're out of that situation and always curate going forward. So let's get into the insight of how to change the offers. Ask yourself, do my current packages respect my time or steal it? I remember at a point in time for my calls, they were going very wide, and it wasn't specific only to what clients were taking our services for. And when I made that change, my calls with clients were more on point. We got better results, and it wasn't draining for me, feeling like I didn't do enough for clients and always needing to do more. Because we respect what clients obviously sign up for and really value and honor that. And I share that because it becomes the space of agreement that you're working from versus always looking to tweak and update if that's not the agreement that you have with who you're working with. Am I undercharging for energy I give? Now, I hear this all the time. The insurance doesn't pay enough. I wish I could increase my rate and all of the things. Now, sometimes you just need to accept where you're at if you're not ready to change the rates or if the insurance process is underway or wherever you are with this. But if your energy is undercharging and you're in that mode, as long as you're in the steps to get there and to backpedal yourself to get there. So here you are today in that position and you want to gain to that place. So that's your goal. So you're going to backpedal the steps that way. Are one-off sessions draining me instead of sustaining me? So sometimes we have like these plug-in sessions and then we're like, oh good, another couple of dollars or here or there. But empty pockets of time, I personally used to be so afraid of. And what I started to really realize in those times is that my mind could process things earlier in the day and not necessarily have to jam pack things and give things more space and room. And when you give yourself space and room without everything being around the time exchange for money, you'd realize that there's more value to gain that way and growth. The next insight is your capacity. You cannot run your practice like a bottomless pit of a calendar. Decide your max calendar load per week. And sometimes people say that your salary, you need more than what the load can be. And there's math to that too, which is basically taking what you want to make divided by the hourly sessions and coming up with an hourly rate that way and seeing how that works. If it's too high, you can curate it a little bit down. If it's too low, you can curate it a little bit up. And then there you got your bonus and your holiday pay and all of those things. Build your financial plan around that number. If the math doesn't work, the offer needs to change. The next one is let the numbers guide you. The numbers don't lie. They tell a story. And once you get intimate with them, you're never going back. and in a good way. Your numbers aren't scary, they're the roadmap. So, which offers bring you the most profit per hour, right? So, it's looking at your income, and what you do most and best is where your energy is going to go. Which ones leave you resentful, and what's the income that you actually need? So, similar to what I was telling you before and how to calculate it. So, the big picture is booked out isn't the goal, balanced, profitable, and energized. Because when you come home at the end of the day to your family like a potato, like a couch potato, and then your eating habits and all of these things go downhill, what happens is that the depletion is starting to build on itself and it doesn't feel good. And to come back from depletion, I've been there, and it can take a really long time depending on how much you let the depletion take you. So, when your offers are aligned with the numbers, you pay yourself with confidence, you work less without losing income, create a practice you actually want to sustain. And then you wake up and then you love the dang thing to show up every single day. So, I want to help you that from surviving to thriving, and I have a huge announcement this, and I am really, really excited. So the biggest mistake where it all comes down into where I've looked at our clients, I think it was alone from like the past 2 years or 3 years, like I did a snapshot of like 1 year and then I went on so on. And everything was because nobody was planning. No one did something that would help them with the roadmap. And I created a very reasonable way for all of you to have a business plan. And I will be doing it in a boot camp style, which is a group style. Now, most people have done this with me over the years where it's one on one. Obviously, that is still an option. However, what I've also learned about the mental health field is that when you do it all together, there is something really, really powerful around that, and the magnetism and the just ability to support each other is really, really amazing. Now, I've had some other classes where I've done other things, and seeing how everybody worked together versus against each other was really, really amazing to watch. And when you realize you're not alone in this, that other people have the same problems as you realize that it can go a long way in terms of like growing your specific things that need growth. Okay. And then I'm going to be there with you. Okay. So this will never happen again. This boot camp around the business plan. This is something that I've curated over the years to do on a one-on-one where there's a lot of high-level coaching with my pillars, and with these pillars, we'll really take you to a roadmap to build the business. Now, can we get done everything in this 90 minutes? Absolutely not. However, I am cutting it down or trimming it down so that it is reasonable to do in the 90 minutes together. And like anything, you could continue it when the time is done. So I invite you all to the Business Plan Bootcamp and this roadmap to a sustainable practice. It will be your profitable formula, your profitable bestie. It will be your best 90 minutes ever. And you will never get me around this for this kind of price point. I will tell you this, but this is something that I really feel passionate about to help the mental health industry, that I really want you to all take in. And every client of where they came in and where their shortfalls are, the business plan solves it. Now, if you're listening to this and you're kind of like, hey, you cut it down, is it going to include that in this little trim down process? Chances are yes. And if you outbeat the trimmed down version in this, that just means our one-on-one together day together will be impactful in a different way. And there's so much more that we could accomplish. However, this will be a huge, incredible beginning point. Now, I've had clients who paid the fee for myself for the one-on-one, and I have endless referrals around this. And what I will tell you is, and everybody, including myself, does not grow my business without it. Now, I've had clients tell me, I did this part, I did that part, without doing the whole thing together, especially the end parts of the pillars. It becomes where those are really the hardest parts for people, where they're struggling. And what happens is along the way is that If something isn't working, you have a place to go back to. So you look at what your plan is, and then you curate and adapt from there. And what I wanted to say is that to work less without losing income, I want to go back to that point, is that when you're on your own, the biggest part that I hear with this is that, oh, should I go back to my 9 to 5, blah, 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 because I get paid these sorts of things or whatever. You're not going to have to worry about any of this again with coming into the boot camp, because we're going to plan it together. You're going to have me there. And then after that, you're going to have a way. And then every day you can just work on it 10 minutes. And if your business means as much as mine means to me, to help other people and to help them around your passion and your growth, you're going to want to come. So what we did was, on each of these slides, you can scan it. And then also, where is it here? You can scan this. If for whatever reason this QR code to join is a little bit difficult, what we're going to do is, Shauna's on this, she's going to put the link as well to join. And I promise you this, is that the incredible time that we're going to spend together, you are never going to look. You're going to count down the days until this boot camp. So going back into, I want to harp on this, we're going to work less without losing income. And even if you want to work more in the same hours and not lose income and grow more, you're going to have a way that it's through attention, your processes, and all of the things with that. So remember the CFO insights, there was 3 of them. The first one was around the offers, the cost of being booked, and then the reality check around this all. So what we want to do, where we go, insight, there we go, your capacity. Capacity is a big thing. I'll be honest with you, in my years of doing this, I didn't really pay attention as much to my capacity until I felt the burnout, to the degree where, there was all sorts of different health circumstances. And once I figured that out, I was like, all my business owners need to have this too, because we are here to serve, enjoy our family, enjoy life, joy, happiness, and all of the things. So I thank you so much today for listening. I welcome you all to come. I cannot wait. If any questions, as always, let me know. Put it at the bottom of this chat. You can tag me and we will happily answer them. I look forward to it. Feel free to tag in and anything you might need. Thank you for listening, and talk soon, my friends.